Hi, welcome back to misformeeple. My name's Mitch.
And I'm Morgan, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 Halloween filler games. Okay, so these are 10 Halloween filler games that are good to play, like if you're waiting for people to arrive, or if you're going to a party that has like a lot of non-gamers, or maybe some kids. Most of these are pretty lightweight and take less than 30 minutes to play. So we just wanted to put together a list of just some, smaller, kind of simpler Halloween games for those types of occasions.
Yeah. Maybe you're at the party and you're waiting for pizza to arrive or something, so you only have 20 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want to start a big game, but you still want to play something.
Right, because you're going to have to clear the table in a little bit so that way people eat. So, yeah, a lot of these games play pretty quick.
Some of them are party games that do play up to more people, but, again, if you've like some non-gamer friends, but you're going to a Halloween party, so want to play something, a lot of these will work for that too.
Yeah. All right, so the first game we're going to talk about is Skull from Space Cowboys, or Space Cowboy.
Cowboys.
Yeah, it is plural. Cowboys. And Skull is a bluffing game for how many people can play?
I think 6. Up
is
to
it
6?
6? Does it say anywhere on the box?
Yes, it does on the side if you'd stop freaking moving it.
3 to 6.
Yes. Plays up to 6 players.
Yeah, 3 to 6. It says it takes 15 to 45 minutes. I don't think I've ever had a game go longer than 20.
No.
Maybe.
It probably does if you have 6 people.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So in Skull, the objective of the game is to be the one who is able to find like the most flowers. Because on your turn, you have 4 coasters essentially. 3 of your coasters have flowers and 1 of them has a skull. So if you start the round, you'll put 1 coaster face down, and then the next player will put a coaster down, next player, until everyone has at least 1 coaster, and it goes back to the player who started the round, and that player can either put down a second coaster on top of theirs, or they can bid how many flowers they think they could find. So if they wanted to, they could say 2, and then it would go to the next person. The next person would have to bid higher if they think they can find more flowers amongst the face down coasters. And then it would keep going around until people have either passed for the highest bid number. So I really like this game because it's a bluffing game in which you can put your skull down, because when you make those bids, you have to flip your pile of coasters over first. So if you bid, oh yeah, I could find 2, and then other people are thinking, well, it's like, oh, if he's bidding 2, then he probably didn't put his skull down, because you have to flip yours over first. So like, oh, I'll bid 3 because I know I put my flower down.
So you're counting on like Mitch's flower, your flower. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I bet someone else around the table probably put down a flower. So it's this weird bluffing game to where you're trying to be the first one to do this successfully twice. The first person who can do this successfully twice wins. If you do it and you flip over a skull, you actually have to discard one of your coasters. So,
but you mix them up, right? You don't know which one you're discarding?
I
can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. It might be random, the one that you do discard.
Yeah, because where you could end up with...
Or it might be a choice. I can't remember. Because if you discard your skull and people figure out that you've discarded your skull, they know that all the coasters in your pile are going to be safe for when they go to bid on doing it. So I know no one else knows what you've discarded.
I think you're right. I think you do get a choice, because I remember trying to decide what I was going to get rid of.
Yeah,
we might be wrong.
No one else knows what you've discarded out of your coasters. I really enjoy this game. Me and my brothers have played this quite a bit.
It's a good one, like if you're drinking, because they're all coasters. So I mean, it's.
I mean, I wouldn't actually use these as coasters,
no, I wouldn't either.
They're legit. You could just use bar coasters and draw an X on them.
Yeah, it's a really good game to have by a bar if you're drinking, or to take to a bar. It's a good little filler game, again, when you're just like waiting on people to arrive. I'm not particularly drawn to this one as much as you are, but
Well, I like bluffing games. I enjoy them.
I think it was just explained like a little bit wrong to me the first couple times that I played it, to where I was just a little confused. But it is a good one to have. It's very appropriate for this time of year. I like all of the what are those called?
The flowers?
No, like the
skulls?
The sugar skulls. Is that what they're called?
Sugar skulls? The heck's a sugar skull?
I think that's what those decorative skulls are called.
Oh, why don't you just say decorative skulls?
Because I think they're called sugar skulls. Anyways, I like the artwork of all the flowers and the skulls. It's really cool for this time of year.
Yeah, but that's Skulls. Check it out. It's quick play, 3 to 6 players.
Okay, the next game on our list is also a quick little game called Zombie Dice. We have the deluxe version. So again, this is just another really good one if you're waiting on like food to arrive or more people to show up. It plays very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah.
Designed by what, Steve Jackson?
Yeah, Steve Jackson Games.
Who did
They
Munchkins.
did Munchkin, yeah. So basically what it is you reach your hand into a bag that is filled with all kinds of dice, yellow, red, and green. They all have different symbols on them, either a shotgun, boot, or a brain.
Boot.
Those are the feet.
Shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shoes.
yeah. Footsteps, yeah.
Footsteps, yeah. And the green, red, and yellow all have different odds of those things showing up.
The green favors the brains, yellow's neutral, and red is
shotguns.
favors shotguns.
Right,
Yeah.
so you reach your hand into a bag, you draw out 3 die, and you roll them. And if you get brains, because you're all zombies in this game, if you get brains, you can bank them. If you get footsteps, you can continue pulling die, including that footstep. So you leave the footstep out, and then you would draw more die up to 3.
Yeah, because it's got that push your luck mechanic to where if you want to bank those brains, you can bank them now, or you can, roll.
Or you can just stop. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can like make sure you set your brains and your shotguns aside, and then make sure you grab 3 dice, including any leftover feet, and then new ones from the bag.
Yeah, so you keep drawing up to 3 until you decide to stop. If you ever get 3 shotgun blast, you bust, and you lose all of the brains that you've acquired that turn. You don't lose any brains that you've banked from previous rounds, just that turn. But it's the first person who reaches 13 brains wins. So it just keeps going around the table until somebody reaches 13 brains, and then the game is over. So again, it's just a quick little dice checking game. It's really good when for like non-gamers, or if you're just drinking, if you're at a Halloween party or something, and there's people who aren't too into games. It's just a quick one to play while you're catching up or drinking.
Yeah, super easy, super quick,
very thematic.
Yeah, pretty fun around this time. I mean, it's fun around any time, but I think we'll only play it around this time of year.
Yeah, it like I said, it's just a quick little Halloween filler game when you're waiting for people to arrive before you play the heavier stuff. So yeah, that is Zombie Dice.
All right, next up we're going to talk about Similo Spookies from Horrible Guild Games. In Similo Spookies, you are assuming the role of a clue giver and a guesser. There's one clue giver, and then the rest of the players are guessers that are working cooperatively to figure out the secret character of the clue giver. So at the start of the game, the clue giver will randomly select one secret character and then use the remaining characters as clues as to who their secret person is. So the reason why it's called Similo is because all these characters have very small details that they share in common, whether it be one has a pointy, or 2 of them have pointy chins, or they have long hair, or they have one eye. So it's,
or they're making the same gesture.
Yeah, same gesture, same color, same background. So they all just have a little bit something that's similar with other cards. So the clue giver will play one card face up for the guessers to see, and if the card is vertically, the card is similar to their secret card that they're trying to get the guessers to guess. And if it's horizontally, it's dissimilar. It's something about it is different from the card they're trying to guess. So you play over 5 rounds, and each round the guessers have to eliminate one character from the grid of 12, and then the second round they have to eliminate 2, third round 3, fourth round 4, and then in the fifth round you're just down to 2 characters. So you're just trying to figure out which of the 2 characters is the actual secret character that the clue giver picked at the beginning of the game. I really enjoy this game.
Yeah, I do too.
We started to play this on BGA, and then I think the next day we bought it.
Yeah, it plays really good on BGA. Sometimes it's really difficult.
Because the clue giver only gets 5 cards.
Yeah, and the cards that they have are just other characters. I don't know if that was mentioned before, but they're just other characters. So you're just like, I don't know, none of these really seem similar to the card that I want them to guess. So
then you put it sideways, because this is why you're not a good clue giver.
But then sometimes it's like not helpful. Like, because I think a few times when you were the clue giver, like his first 3 clues were like, this is different, this is different, this is different.
I was trying to get you to narrow it down by
But I couldn't, because I was like, well, nothing is similar. It was hard.
Exactly.
But no, it is really fun. And it does come down to when you're on like those last 2 cards, you're like, I don't know, did he put this card down because they have like the similar face shape, or is it because they're both green cards, or is it because this one's a girl and like you want us to guess the girl? So it's a lot of trying to interpret the clues. Yeah.
And then it gets almost if you played Mysterium, very frustrating.
As the clue giver.
Yeah, as the clue giver. When your guessers don't get why you put the card down.
Or when you don't have good cards in your hand to give us clues.
Yeah.
You know, when you kind of just have to work with what you have and hope for the best.
But it plays really quick. We played a few rounds of it the other day with my family. And it was very much a filler game.
Yeah. I mean, again, in the artwork on the Similo Spookies is very thematic for Halloween. The artwork is really good. Zombies, ghosts, Frankenstein, vampires.
And you can combine it with other Similo games, right?
I think that's where this game would get even better, is combining it with other decks.
Yeah, because one deck would be the characters that are part of like the 4x3 grid that make up the 12.
And then
the other deck is going to be your clues. Because they all the decks that they have
similar features.
Similar features. One eye, open mouth, like horns or like pointy shapes on the heads. Like there's definitely stuff you can draw similarities between across any deck, which is fantastic.
I think I would like to try Fables.
Fables, is that the one with like centaurs and whatnot, or?
I think that's the one with like Red Riding Hood and
like yeah.
You know, like the Fable characters. Yeah, I think that would be fun. Like Goldilocks and like that kind of stuff. Yeah, but anyways, Similo Spookies. All right, next we're gonna talk about the Halloween edition of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, published by Dolphin Hat Games. If you're familiar with Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, this game is exactly the same as the original, except the Halloween theme. So all of the characters in the game are wearing Halloween costumes. So like the pizza is dressed up as a mummy, the cheese cards are witches, the goats are Frankenstein, and then
Narwhal's a pirate.
Yeah, the special cards have different names. So, like, the gorilla is a Boorilla because he's dressed as a ghost. The groundhog is Hogula because
he's a vampire.
He's Dracula. And then the narwhal is... What is the narwhal?
The narwhal.
The Argwal.
Argwal, that's what it is.
He's the pirate. Yeah. That's it, yeah. So this is a really fun game, especially for kids. Basically, everyone has a deck of cards, and one by one, you just kind of flip a card out, and you repeat the phrase. So you
like your gesture of flipping it out. You do it right when you're miming it, but not when we're actually playing the game.
Anyways, you take a card from your deck, you flip it out, and you, like the first person that goes, will flip it and say taco. And if it...
I was going to do cat.
If it matches... if the word, so if the card that I flipped was taco and I said taco, everybody would have to put their hands in and slap. And the last person to slap takes all the cards, and you want to be the last person without cards in order to win.
If it doesn't match, the next person just
Yeah,
goes.
so then if it doesn't match, the next person goes and they flip theirs and they say cat. Again, if there's no match, it keeps going. The next person says goat, cheese, pizza, and you keep going around until whatever card you play matches the card that you say.
With the exception of the 3 special ones.
Yes, there's 3 special ones. For the boo-rilla, you're going to yell boo! And then,
like a ghost?
Yeah, and shake your hands like a ghost. And then you'll slap. And again, the last person to slap will take all the cards. And then if the hogula comes up, you're going to put your nose in the crook of your elbow and go, blah!
like sneezing like a vampire?
Well, yeah, because he's dressed as a vampire. And then again, you'll slap. And then for the R wall, you're going to cover one eye with your hand and then form a hook with the other and then go arg like a pirate. And then, again, you're going to try to do that really quickly and slap. And then the last person to slap is going to take all the cards. It's a very silly, fast game. We like this version around Halloween because they're all in Halloween costumes. And it's really fun. It's again, really good game for kids. It's really easy for them to understand because it's just word picture association. But yeah, this is a really good one. Another filler game for Halloween.
Kids love it. And, I mean, you get to smack a kid's hand.
It is fun for adults, too, we will say. Like, I have a good time. It is a blast to play. Yeah. Like, it's really funny. Yeah.
My nephew is typically slow, but he comes in hot. To where it's like my hand might be there first, but the top of my hand was getting like beat red because he's smacking the crap out of me. So if you false slap, like if you think it is what it is, but it's not, then you take all the cards. So this one is a little bit trickier because they're all wearing costumes. So it's like... I disagree. I think the original is a little bit more tricky because with the way that like the goat and like the pizza, like every goat, pizza, and cheese card isn't the same. Like they tweak the color schemes a little bit on the cards.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
true. That's a good point.
The cheese might come out and you might think it's pizza because you saw previously a pizza card that had like a very similar color. So
that's true.
To where I think this one's a little bit easier because like I find I'm not looking at the artwork because I'm like, I don't know what the pumpkin is. I'm reading it.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, the taco is a pumpkin.
Is it?
It doesn't quite look like a taco because he's just in the pumpkin.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, that is Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, the Halloween edition.
Now we're talking about 5 Minute Mystery from Game Factory. And 5 Minute Mystery is a game for 1 to 6 players. And it's a co-op mystery deduction game in which one person will be moving through a codex with all these various symbols while everyone else is looking at this picture of a scene trying to find the secret symbols. The secret symbols will be like a circle, a star, but it's like the circle and stars have different like pips on them, to where the circle will have like 4 or 2 pips on it, to where it's like that person's got to rotate the circle icon on the codex to like that many number of pips, and like
because there's like 4 different types of circles, 4 different types of triangles.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, so you have to try and describe it to them.
Yeah, so it might be a triangle with like 3 dots on the side, or it might be a triangle with a dot in the middle, and So
it's real time. You're doing this and you're trying to get this done in 5 minutes. I think the whole thing in 5 minutes. It plays very quick.
It has a really nice companion app that will like play like spooky music and kind of like do like a countdown, tell you when you're halfway there, tell you when you're getting close to your 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To where we got to backtrack. To where this game, you're trying to identify who the culprit is. And the one thing that makes this game pretty unique is the barcode system that it uses. To where you'll have a culprit tile face down, and on the sides of it, it will have color-coded barcodes, to where only the matching like murder weapon or hat or accessory will line up perfectly with that barcode, so that way you know, all right, this person's wearing a top hat, monocle, white gloves, to where once you get these clues, another person can be eliminating who is not the culprit.
They have like a pool of suspect cards, and they're like, okay, we know that they're not wearing a necklace. So then you like remove all the necklace people. Kind of like Guess Who in that way, where you're just like slowly trying to narrow it down to like, okay, this person must be the murderer.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of different scenes, and even some scenes repeat, but the locations of the symbols are in different spots and have, different variations of each symbol. So you can't quite memorize each scene's pattern. So everyone's doing this in real time in 5 minutes, shouting over to the person that's twisting the codex to try and get these clues. And then once you get the clues, if you get all of them, the person can take that guess as to who they believe it is. I think you could even take a guess prior if you're running short on time.
I think so. But there's all kinds of different like scenarios you can play, like different like mysteries that you can go through. But they all take place in like the museum, I believe. Right? Because that's where all the location cards are like.
Yeah,
from
I
the museum.
think there are different rooms in a museum.
Yeah. The theme is like a mystery.
Oh yeah, because most of them are someone stole something from the museum.
Right, and you're trying to catch a culprit. There's like if you want to make it more difficult, it's like you try this scenario, or if you're playing with like kids, play this scenario.
Right, or you have two culprits, and
it's a lot of fun in 5 minutes.
But we don't have it in front of us because we're very good at the game.
Yeah, we lent it to my brother because he was really interested in a 5-minute dungeon, which we also had. So we let him borrow 5-minute dungeon, and then we're like, we also have 5-minute mystery if you want to try that one too. So my brother has both 5-minute dungeon and 5-minute mystery because they are both by the same publisher. But yeah, it's a really good Halloween game. I really like the spooky music and like trying to like work together as a team and be really, really fast.
Yeah, for a filler game playing in 5 minutes, the fact that it's got that music really gets you into the mood and into the setting of like, we're playing spooky games tonight.
And even though it's a like filler game, like as soon as you play one, you'll be like, we gotta play another one. Like let's try the next mystery. So it can go on longer if you want, but it is good if you're again just waiting on somebody, or if you do have kids, you can have them help you find the symbols, and it's really fun.
Yeah, the codex is pretty cool, too. Like, who doesn't like twisting around a codex trying to, like, solve a puzzle?
Yeah, the codex is really cool.
Yeah, because if you think you got it right, because they might not have described them to them, you flip over the scene and you see if your codex actually matches that line.
Yeah, and if
it matches, that's when you get a clue.
Yeah.
There's been a few times to where it's like, someone didn't say it was the triangle within the triangle. They were just like, it's the triangle with, like... the marking in the middle. Well, it's like there's one that had a circle in the middle of the triangle, so you kind of botched it.
Right.
So.
And it is fun too, like if you go to play like again to like switch up the rules, because the codex is really fun, but it's also fun trying to like find all the symbols within the scenes because it's like a look and find.
But anyway, 5-minute mystery.
5-minute mystery. All right, next game on our list of Halloween filler games is Monstrosity. Published by Deepwater Games. And so in Monstrosity, you are like police sketch artist. So one person is trying to describe a creature or monster that they've seen commit a crime, and they have 20 seconds to memorize this card. So memorize as much details as I possibly can about this card. Okay, it has 4 eyes, it has 2 tails, it has bird feet, it has 3 wings on it, it's got like an open mouth with a really long tongue. I'm trying to remember all of these little details about this crazy monster card. So once those 20 seconds are up, put the card down, and then you start a 2-minute timer, and you have 2 minutes to describe to everyone else that's playing.
FBI or Men in Black sketch artists.
And this plays up to 8. So you are describing to 7 other people, potentially, what this creature looks like. So you're like, okay, it has like the body of a horse, and it's got like a fish head, and like it's got 3 tails.
And they could ask questions.
Yeah, they can ask questions for clarifications, like, well, wait, what did the mouth look like? Or can you describe its feet? Or how many eyes does it have? So they can ask for clarifications. They're drawing on their boards. After those 2 minutes are up, you stop describing, everybody stops drawing, and then everybody puts their drawings down on the table, and...
Yeah, it's your lineup, essentially.
Yeah, the lineup, the police lineup.
Yeah.
And then the person who was describing it looks at all of the cards, All of the drawings, I mean. So they look at the drawings, and from memory, they have to vote.
Well, they don't vote. They would just reward a point to who they think
Yeah,
that's
secretly on the little point tracker. Which one they think the best matches what they saw from memory. And they give that person a point. And then once they secretly give that person a point, they actually reveal the card and they show everybody, like, okay, this is actually what the monster looked like. And then everybody else looks at the card and everyone's drawings, and then they get to vote who they think, now that they know what the card looks like, most closely matched it. You can't vote for yourself, but everyone would, on the count of 3, point to somebody, and whoever has the most people pointing at their drawing will get a point. So 2 points are rewarded each time, and it can go to the same person if, everyone votes for that person, and then the describer voted for that person as well. It's a ridiculous game. At first, you're like, oh my gosh, nobody's going to be able to draw this. But a lot of the times that we've played this, people get pretty close to the card.
Some of them get pretty close, and then sometimes you're like, you know what? I didn't say that it was like half horse, half man, and I didn't say which half was the horse and which one was the man.
I think that's part of the fun too, is like when you flip the card over, you're like, oh, it actually had 5 eyes, and I said that it didn't have any eyes. Like,
or you forget like a major detail.
You just immediately start forgetting things as you're like describing it. You're like, start the timer, start the timer, because I don't want to forget this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it did have a microphone in its hand with like an alien mouth singing into it. Oops.
Yeah. But it's really, really fun. But anyways, this is another really good filler game. It plays really quick. It's just a really silly,
because everyone's the clue giver twice.
Yeah,
so with 2 minutes and 20 seconds,
it's a 20-minute game.
It's quick.
Yeah, very, very quick, very silly, very fun. Probably one of our favorite drawing type games.
Oh yeah, it's
I'd
up
say.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really silly. Kids can get into it too. I think the minimum is 8. So yeah. If you have a little bit older kids, they can play as well. But yeah, that is a really silly, fun drawing game.
I like when people describe stuff and they're like, yeah, it's in his right hand. And then
that's the hardest part.
That drives me nuts when they say his right hand
or on the right side of the card. And, like, what do you mean?
Yeah, is it that? So I gotta like draw it on the left because it's the character's right?
Yeah.
And then you said this thing had 5 hands. Which right hand?
It's very silly.
It's frustrating. My biggest issue with this game, I will say, is that if there is ever a tie amongst players when there is a vote being cast, who drew it the closest?
Oh yeah,
that is redacted.
It's redacted in the rulebook. It's like in the case of a tie, and then it's just blacked out.
Yeah, it's blacked out because like the rulebook is written like a case file type deal. So yeah, that's my biggest.
That you don't know what to do if there's a tie.
That's my biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip a coin.
No.
Anyways, that is Monstrosity by Deepwater Games.
Now we're talking about Medium from Greater Than Games. And Medium is a 2 to 8 player mind-reading party game. On the box it says it takes 30 to 45 minutes, but we played a couple rounds.
It plays pretty quick.
Fairly quickly.
And it's one of those games where you can just kind of like, okay, each person goes once and we're done. Like, you can just kind of stop playing whenever you feel like you want to stop playing. Yeah.
But in the rules, you're supposed to stop playing when the crystal ball breaks.
Yes.
So anyways, in Medium, there's 16 different decks that are all tailored to have similarities. I believe similarities. I don't know how they're tailored exactly, but based on your player count, you'll select a number of those decks and shuffle them together and then deal out, I believe it was 6 cards to each player. And then the starting player is partnered up with the player on their left. Their partner will put a card down and that card might say ocean. And then the starting player would put down a card that says boil. And then you guys have to think of
the medium word or word that connects those 2 cards together.
So on the count of 3, or starting at 3, because you go 3, 2, 1, and then say the word. Are we going to do it right now?
Sure, yeah.
So ocean and boil. Okay, ocean and boil? I feel like this should be easier than what it is.
easy.
How is ocean in boil?
Do you have something or not?
Yeah.
All right.
Got it. You ready?
Yes.
You ready?
3, 2, 1,
lobster.
Water.
You said water.
You boil water. And an ocean is a body of water.
All right. You boil a lobster. Lobsters come from the ocean. So anyways, if you would have got it right, or got the matching word, you would have took a first attempt point token and put it in between you and that player. If you got it wrong, like we did, those now become your next two cards, your next two
Guesses.
or words that you have to
yeah.
find a medium. So now we're playing with lobster and water.
Lobster and water.
Lobster and water. So on the count of 3, we have to get in between lobster and water. You got something?
I don't know what's what you got.
I don't know. The first time we played, we did really well.
Okay.
I don't even know if this is... I don't know. You're right.
Okay.
3... No,
Sorry.
You start at 3. You don't start at 1.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. 3, 2, 1,
sea.
shellfish. You're naming other bodies of water. So we have sea and shellfish.
Yeah.
All right. So if we would have got it right...
So then you keep going.
You would take a second attempt one, which is a little bit less points value. But we didn't. So you go to the third attempt. And the third attempt is...
You still use your guesses
So
from
now
the
we're
previous.
using shellfish
And
sea. And this is the final attempt. 3, 2, 1, shrimp. Look at that.
Yes.
Yep. It feels really good when you get it right. So we got it right. You would take a third attempt, which is even less points. It's like 1 or 2. The second attempt is 3 or 4, and the first attempt is 5 or 6.
Yeah, the points are hidden so that you don't really know
Right.
how many points people have until the end of the game.
Right, so then the play continues clockwise. Morgan is now the leading player, and her partner would be the player to her left. So the same thing, and then you keep going. After you put down a card, or after you do your medium, you draw back up to 6. Once you draw the 3 crystal ball cards, then you'll just continue playing until everyone has taken same number of turns.
Yep, and then you add up the points between you and your partner on the right, and then you and your partner on the left, and then those are your total points. And then whoever has the most points.
I won both times, believe it or not.
You did.
I'm really good at the game. But what I really love about this game, I really do enjoy this a lot, is that you get all these kind of like weird inside jokes, and when you do get a match, even on that third attempt, it does feel pretty amazing that you got it. To where my brother and I started with Criminal and Van, and by our third attempt, we were on Aliens, and we got it. So we were just so happy to even get points on the board at that point.
And then sometimes, like, when you both say the same word in the first try, you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yeah,
like,
it's so
like,
good.
I knew what you were thinking.
Now, other times, like, you can be kind of like crisscrossing each other to where it's like
You're all saying sort of similar things.
You're saying words that are too close to each other to where there's really not something in the middle or something that's the medium. So, I don't know, it's a fantastic game, very thematic for spooky season, and just a great filler game overall.
And it plays good with a lot of people, too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is medium.
That's medium.
Alrighty. So the next filler game we have is In Vino Morte, published by Button Shag Games. And this is a little 18-card wallet game that, if you're familiar with the movie Princess Bride, the scene with the Dread Pirate Roberts and Vicini, when they are doing the wine drinking and they're trying to guess which cup has the iodine powder, and they keep switching their cups back and forth. That is basically the idea behind this game. So there are there's sets of wine cards, and then there's sets of poison cards. So there's a dealer, so they will decide who to give who. So they'll be like, okay, I'm going to give Mitch poison. So you turn it...
Of course you would.
You turn
of course.
You turn it face down.
You couldn't use wine for the example.
So we can just take it out, and I'll show you. So, oops. There we go. Okay. So, I'll be like...
Yeah, we'll play right now.
All right. I don't know. Do I get to look?
Yeah, yeah. Don't you get to look? Because you don't get a turn. You don't get to choose.
Okay.
Right?
So, one of these is poison. One of these is wine. Mitch, do you want to drink or do you want to swap?
Did you give me poison?
Mm-hmm. You want to drink or do you want to swap?
Did you give me poison?
I did give you poison.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you give me poison?
Are you going to drink or are you going to swap?
Well, this is how the game's played. You figure it out. Mm-hmm. Did you give me poison?
Yes.
Do you have poison in front of you?
No.
I'm usually pretty good about reading you. Do you have poison in front of you?
Are you drinking or
I'm
swapping?
trying to figure it out. I'm not going to die. Do you have poison in front of you?
No, I don't. I gave you the poison.
Do I have poison in front of
Yes.
me? Mm-hmm. No, I'm swapping. Okay. Swapping.
All right. We drink.
Son of a...
You're going to swap.
That's how the game's played. I'm out. Morgan just won.
Yep. So that's In Vino Morte.
If there's more players.
Yeah. It plays up to 8 people. But yeah, you can... When you have more people, you can swap with anybody at the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the people who drank the poison are out, and then a new round's played of those who are still alive.
Yeah, and it keeps kind of dwindling until there's one person left. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the cheese expansion.
We also have the cheese expansion, which basically just reverses what's in your cup. So wine
Why?
wine will kill you, poison will keep you alive. And the dealer can give cheese to whoever they want. But yeah, that is In Vino Morte. We love The Princess Bride, and it's a very like thematic Halloween game because it's poison, and people are dying. So, but yeah, that is a really fun filler game.
I'm gonna be mad the rest of the video.
I like her. You're like, I can always read her.
I said I usually can. But
That's why I gave myself the poison because I knew you would switch it.
I tripped myself up because I was like, she's lying to me. And then I still switched. Like, in my head, I knew you were lying. But then in my head, I was like, well, I gotta switch. And, like, I needed, like, another few seconds to think about it. You rushed me.
Anyways, it's very fun, as you can tell. That's In Vino Morte. Very silly, very simple game. But yeah, In Vino Morte by Button Shy.
Yeah. Next filler game is One Night Ultimate Werewolf from Bezier Games. And if you've ever played Werewolf, this is pretty much that game just in one night, rather than, doing this over the course of several nights. At the end of the game, you're playing it one night, one day, and if you successfully got rid of the werewolf, the game is instantly won, and if you can't successfully identify the werewolf, then the werewolf wins if they was able to successfully kill somebody. And it's also possible that there's not even a werewolf in your game, because in the center there's 3 cards that are part of the villagers that could have gotten passed out. So you know what the deck is that's going to be getting passed out to all the players. Mm-hmm. And there's always these 3 extra cards. So you potentially might not have passed out the werewolf, could be in the center. So using your villagers' abilities, some villagers can look at those cards in the center, some can swap with other players. So you'll get a little bit of information just on one night, rather than getting it recurringly and slowly figuring it out. But if you've ever played Werewolf, this is a much faster version of it.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes, super quick. One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Great filler game, great social deduction. Plays in 10 minutes, 3 to 10 players.
Very thematic, werewolves.
Also, just a little side note.
As an honorable mention,
Werewords.
We haven't played this version yet, which is why it's honorable mention. But this is basically like a word version of werewolf.
Yes.
So
the mayor knows the secret word, which is a role you have to play with.
Yes.
The seer knows who the secret word as well. Mm-hmm. And then the werewolf, I believe, is trying to kill the seer. And then everyone else...
the werewolf is trying to get you to not guess the word. Like, kind of steer you into...
is that what it is?
Yeah. Because the werewolf and the seer both know the words, and they're both on the team trying to guess.
Yes. Oh, yeah, because the mayor knows the secret word, but they can't talk. So you ask them yes or no questions, and they use tokens that will answer yes or no to those questions.
But the werewolf is trying to steer you away from guessing the word because they also know what it is, and then the seer is trying to help you guess the word. But if the werewolf correctly identifies the seer at the end of the game, then the werewolf wins. So the seer can't be too helpful in order to give them out. But yeah, this plays 4 to 10 player. The reason why we haven't played it yet is because we didn't think it would play that great with 4 people. And the other night when we were going to play this, we were like, we should wait
because
until we
just
have
one
more
person
people.
would have been out of the loop.
Yeah, to where it would have been pretty easy for the werewolf to guess because they'd have a 50-50 shot, essentially. So we're going to wait to play this until we have more people, because it does play up to 10. But yeah, it's just like a word 20-question version of werewolf. And it's werewolves. Yeah. All right, so the last filler game we're going to talk about is Tiny Epic Zombies, published by Gamelin Games. So Tiny Epic Zombies plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. It can go longer or shorter, depending on the mode that you play.
This is probably the biggest stretch for a filler game. While it's a tiny box, like this, potentially this could be your main game that you play.
It could, yeah, because you can have more people play it. You can play more difficult scenarios. Or you can, remove scenarios or objectives to make it, lighter if you're just waiting on people. But in Tiny Epic Zombies, you can play competitively or cooperatively. So cooperatively, it is all the players versus an AI-controlled zombie. Or competitively, where it's players versus one other person who is a zombie. So one person controls the zombie while everybody else is individually trying to complete goals competitively, or a team versus a zombie. But it's really cool because you have your character meeples in this game. They have little holes in them so that the items that you pick up actually attach to your
that's
meeples,
really cool.
which they do not need to do that in this game.
There's no
point.
You
have item cards, right? But the fact that your little meeple is walking around with like a gigantic chainsaw or like a crossbow,
it's cool.
It's fantastic for this tiny little box. It's just amazing. There's a ton of different characters that you can be. You can be like the janitor or like the survivor or the hippie, and they all have asymmetric powers that they can do. That can give them like special abilities. But basically what you do is it's in a mall, and this mall is being overrun by zombies. And the players have different objectives. There's a bunch of different objective cards. So once the players collectively complete all of those objectives, because we played cooperatively, then they win. We ended up both dying because the cards...
Well, we lost. I died.
I know I died too at the end.
Oh, you died at the end.
Yeah,
That's
we both
right.
died. But we ran out of cards, which triggered end game. But it's really fun. You're like moving through these rooms. You have melee attacks and range attacks to kill zombies. And there's little cute zombie meeples, which are just adorable. And then if you die, your player flips over and it's the zombie version of your character. And if you're playing with the AI zombie, it just goes up to the zombie and they get another passive power. But if you're playing competitively where another player is playing the zombie, they get your character and now they control your character as a zombie and you take a new character card.
That's one thing that I really liked, like thematically about the game, is that in the center of the mall is the courtyard, and you have these little white meeples that represent like other survivors, to where if you were to die and like your character becomes a zombie, flipping that card over, you just randomly grab another survivor.
Another character card.
Yeah, another character card. Remove one of the white meeples from the center of the board, and then you just like not respawn, but you spawn back in as a just different person who's like here to help. Yep. So I really like that. I think it's like one of the most thematic.
And
like,
all
games.
of the mall tiles can be flipped over to have a different store. So the mall layout can be completely different.
You'll get huge variations every time you play.
And then there are so many different objective cards, so many different character cards. And then again, you can play competitively or cooperatively. You can have an AI zombie. You can have a player control a zombie. There's so many different ways to play this game. It's really is a big game in a little box. But it is a good filler game if you only play with it says 30 to 45 minutes. I think it was a little bit longer for us because of
Well,
the
it
teach.
took a while for us to learn it.
Once
We
you
were
get
just-
going,
yeah.
the turns are pretty simple. But again, if like we played with the 3 objectives, if you only had 1 or 2, this game would be way faster, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very fun game, very thematic. I love the little zombie meeples. And I love that your little meeples can strap weapons to themselves. Like, it's fantastic. It's really, really satisfying.
That's probably one of the coolest parts.
Yeah, it really is. When you pick up a new weapon, you're like, oh, I can swap out my machete for this machine gun.
I like every part of this game. Thematically, the rules and like the items that you're using make sense. Like there's always something you can like visualize. Like I had the golf club, and just like when I did a melee thing, if I rolled a good symbol on the melee die, then it was like, oh yeah, you essentially get to hit an extra range thing. So it's like I just pictured hitting that golf ball like into another zombie, to where it's like every card had that like just little extra detail that made it really fit thematically. It was great.
That is Tiny Epic Zombies. Really, really good small box filler Halloween game. Okay, so those are our recommendations for kind of small filler Halloween games to play, you know, while you're waiting on people to bring to a Halloween party. Kind of games to play with non-gamers.
Filler games.
Yeah, filler games. Let us know down in the comments below what some of your favorite Halloween, like small box filler games are, what you typically like to play while you're waiting for people or you like to bring to a Halloween party. Like I said, these ones we chose because they play very quickly and they're thematically appropriate for Halloween.
But if you liked what you saw, or what we're doing, or any of the games that we showed you, be sure to click the subscribe button down below. Click the bell to get notified of the videos that we release, which, with the exception of last week, we release them every Sunday.
We mostly try to stick to Sunday.
Yeah, and we're doing shorts now too, so keep an eye out for that. And click the thumbs up, because it really helps the video and helps us out. But my name's Mitch.
And I'm Morgan. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to misformeeple. My name's Mitch.
Stop making yourself laugh. I like that, but let's do it one more time.
Yeah. Take it. Similo Spookies from Horrible Guild Games. Similo Spookies from Horrible Guild Games. I feel like I said it weird.
Just say from Horrible Guild.
Horrible.
Published by
Horrible.
Horrible Guild.
Horrible. Horrible.
Can you not say that word?
No, I could say horrible.
Horrible Guild.
Got it. Say it with me one more time for help.
Horrible Guild.
You can't up when I need help. Next up, we're going to talk about
So we're going to talk about Horrible Guild. How many times are we going to have to redo this?
Yeah, if you would quit interrupting me.
I'm not
Only
interrupting
once.
you.
All right, next fully. Is that one going on the board? That's bullshit.
Absolutely good.
Well, let's see if we get it, and then if not, we'll do it again and just use a
3,
2, 1 urchin.
shrimp.
What the hell?
Oh, a sea urchin.
Yes.
Is a sea urchin a shellfish?
I don't know
think
what
it
a
is.
shellfish really is. Let's say shrimp.
Just so we can demonstrate how the game works.
Oh yeah, no, I mean we'll cut it. You ready? You ready?
All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1, shrimp. Look at that.
Yes.
Yep.